As we take a closer look at prisons reforms in Nigeria. Good evening and welcome to the program. The Nigerian prisons have been enormously characterized by some problems which several studies attributed to inadequacies of the system as a corrective institution. Now, prison reforms have been ongoing for many years, all in an effort to reform the prisoners to be better than they were before their imprisonment, rehabilitate and equip them with new skills. But most importantly, the reforms aim at secluding criminals from the rest of the society pending when they have atoned their misdeeds. Now, the move to repeal the Prisons Act 2004 and replace it with correctional services is part of initiatives in the reform process of the Nigerian prisons, which experts say is a welcome development. With many detention centers in Nigeria, proliferation of petty offenses, stringent bail conditions, poor pro bono culture, and unsatisfactory processing of minor offenders, there is no gainsaying the fact that the change of a format is necessary. Now, currently, and according to the Nigeria Prison Service, over 60% of the present prison population is awaiting trial inmates, and that situation compounds the challenges of congestion in the nation's prisons. We will dissect all the issues, and our guest today is Jafaru Ahmed, Controller General, Nigeria Prison Service. Thank you for choosing to stay with us tonight, and I am glad to host you once again. My name is Kirin Umayo, and you're on to Weekend File, your weekend companion, and the news comes first. A report reaching us from Kogi is that Vice President Yemi Osinbajo is hale and hearty after surviving a chopper crash in Kaba and was able to continue with the campaign to promote APC's next level. A statement by the Senior Special Assistant to the Vice President on Media and Publicity, Laolu Akonde, says the VP's chopper had crash-landed after landing incident without any of its passengers getting hurt. Meanwhile, Vice President Yemi Osinbajo has expressed appreciation to Nigerians for their concern following the incident. Speaking at the Obaro of Kaba's Palace, his first stop in his visit to Kogi, Professor Osinbajo expressed gratitude to God for the deliverance from the crash. Meanwhile, the All Progressives Congress has expressed gratitude to God for saving the life of the Vice President Yemi Osinbajo after surviving chopper crash in Kaba, Kogi State. A press statement by the National Publicity Secretary of the party, Lanre Issa Onilu, says the VP was undertaking the All Progressives Congress next level engagement ahead of the general elections this February. The party prays for continuous safety of their leaders and general progress of the country. President Muhammadu Buhari was in Bauchi, where he referenced that oil and gas resources still remain the most immediate and practical keys to Nigeria's aggressive efforts at diversifying the economy, despite the fact that the golden era of high oil prices was gone. President Buhari was speaking specifically at the flag-off of the presidential spotting of the Kolmani River well in the Gongola Basin of the Benue Trough, located in Bauchi State. State House correspondent Adam Sambo was there for us.
These drilling operations in the Kolmani River 2 well of the Gongola Basin is part of efforts by the nation's oil company, the NNPC, to expand its exploration outreach into the Gongola Basin. The objective is to improve Nigeria's oil and gas reserves, drive production, and spin off socio-economic activities across the country. President Muhammadu Buhari said oil and gas remain not only critical to the Nigerian economy of today and the future, but also key to the successful implementation of the nation's budgets at all levels of government.
As important as it is to ensure that other critical sectors of the economy are supported to grow and continue more to the nation's economy. We still need a virile oil and gas industry to take care of the challenges of the moment and to invest for the future. It is on this note that I directed the NNPC to aggressively intensify its exploration campaign in the inland basins with a view to discovering new hydrocarbon reserves that will boost oil and gas production and extend economic benefits to the people within those basins and the nation at large.
Describing national energy sufficiency as key execution priority of the economic recovery and growth plan, President Muhammadu Buhari, however, said this cannot be achieved through hydrocarbon resources from the conventional basins alone. Exploration activities in the nation's frontier basins, he therefore emphasized, is a national imperative and core policy thrust that must be sustained.
I pledge my full commitment to this important national imperative on our journey to building a prosperous, strong, and stable Nigeria. A new Nigeria with balanced resources distribution, diverse economic activities, and sustained energy and security as we build the virile and industrial economy to catch up with the 21st century expectations.
For both the Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Dr. Ibe Kachku, and the Group Managing Director of the NNPC, Dr. Maikanti Baru, it is an optimistic projection that the Kolmani River 2 well will meet all its exploration targets, including the presence of hydrocarbons in substantial commercial quantities.
While we remain focused on the 40 billion barrels oil reserves target by 2025, we are also mindful of the fact that it usually takes time for oil to be discovered. In the Niger Delta Basin, it took over 50 years for explorations to discover crude oil. Therefore, Mr. President, sir, patience is of essence here.
How significant is it?
Very significant, especially where it is happening. Shell was here, Total, for a while, and then they left after they drilled 1 or 2 wells. But then the data that they left behind showed that there were potential visible evidence of oil. NNPC decided, look, we're going to go in, we're going to spend some money, we're going to try and see whether we can explore a little bit further and see what it is that we find. It gives hope to every part of Nigeria that oil can be found, hopefully will be found everywhere. And of course, you know the security implications of being able to do that.
Exploration activities in the next level are expected to be intensified in all the frontier basins, including Chad, Anambra, Sokoto, Dahomey, and Bida basins, as well as the Benue Trough, towards ushering in prospects for more prosperous Nigeria. Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
And now to political rallies. The APC presidential campaign rally continued in Gombe and Jigawa states, where leadership of the party made promises of more developmental gains in the Broom Revolution if re-elected. Political correspondent Salihu Abdullahi tells us more.
The APC presidential campaign team enjoyed similar reception in Gombe State, just like other states visited since it commenced campaigns. President Muhammadu Buhari reminded the people that his desire to uphold the sanctity of lives and absolute protection of property as a cardinal objective of his administration led to the liberation of territories in the northeast, hitherto in the hands of terrorists. This effort, he said, has achieved the desired result in boosting the economy through agriculture and the fight against corruption.
Thank God, on the last rainy seasons, Nigerian farmers, through government efforts, have recorded bumper harvests, and very soon, Nigeria will be proud of food security.
Other party faithful, including the national chairman of APC, Adams Oshomole, applauded the support the administration is enjoying from the people of Gombe and assured them of more developmental projects through the committed leadership of President Muhammadu Buhari if given another mandate.
this coming election is between a president who believes in Nigeria, a president who believes that the weight of our nation should be managed in a way as to reflect the quality of life of the majority of the people, and a president who believes that the child of the poor who goes to school must have access at least to 1 square meal.
The campaign train proceeded to Dutse, Jigawa state capital. While in Jigawa, the party received into its fold top members and supporters of the opposition PDP and SDP, led by the first civilian governor of the state, Ali Saad Birnin Kudu. The defectors named achievements of the Buhari administration as reasons for joining the Progressives family and promised total loyalty. President Muhammadu Buhari solicited support from the people for another term with a pledge to consolidate on the gains of his administration in the interest of all, especially the less privileged.
2015, I made 3 promises: to secure the nation, improve the economy, and fight corruption. Thank God for the success, as normal life has returned to the northeast. And on the economy, many people have gone back to farm. We are soliciting your support come February 16. Vote for APC to enable us carry on with the good work we have started.
President Buhari, you will be remembered as the man who helped Nigeria to overcome years of misrule. And on the 16th, please go in this large number and vote APC. Don't just think we have won. Everybody must come out.
Salihu Abdullahi, NTA News.
And still in Gombe State, Governor Ibrahim Hassan Dankwambo of Gombe State has formally confirmed the high level of support, reverence and goodwill being enjoyed by President Muhammadu Buhari across the jewel in the savannah as general elections draw near. The governor, who accompanied the president to pay homage on the Emir of Gombe, Abubakar Shehu Abubakar, as part of his campaign tour of the state, could not help confessing the genuine love the people of Gombe have for the Nigerian leader. State House correspondent Adam Sambo is here again.
The show of support for President Muhammadu Buhari in Gombe was, to say the least, remarkably overwhelming. The major streets in the metropolis were overflowed by a sea of humanity as the president, accompanied by Governor Ibrahim Dankwambo, headed for the Emir's palace to pay respect. Everyone was on a mission to not only identify but proudly associate with the Nigerian leader for his integrity, genuine love and commitment for a better Nigeria, as well as selflessness in service to humanity. And this was how Governor Ibrahim Dankwambo of the PDP introduced the president to the Emir of Gombe on arrival at the Royal Palace.
Gombe State people love you. It is a visit that is well overdue, and that is why we are all here to welcome you.
Speaking in the same vein, Emir Abubakar Shehu Abubakar commended President Muhammadu Buhari for his revolutionary initiatives in critical sectors of the economy, saying his visit to Gombe can best be described as homecoming in view of the high sense of attachment of the people to everything he stands for. He prayed for peaceful elections in Nigeria, as well as the return of God-fearing leaders who have the interests of the country at heart. President Muhammadu Buhari expressed gratitude to the people of Gombe for sustaining their trust and confidence in his leadership, saying he will never let them down as he strives to take Nigeria to the next level. It was a similar scenario in Jigawa, the New World, as mammoth crowd of enthusiastic supporters, admirers and well-wishers line up the streets to catch a glimpse of the president as he returned to duty on a vote-seeking mission. At an interactive session with members of the State Council of Chiefs, President Buhari expressed the conviction that the people of Jigawa have not only embraced the change agenda, but are determined to move into the next level. He promised to continue to do his very best at ensuring that the nation's common wealth are utilized effectively and judiciously towards making life better for all. The president takes pride in the achievements recorded in diversifying the economy through agriculture, but criticized the media for poor publicity on the matter.
Nasarar da aka ce a noma, wato jaridun Najeriya ba su faɗinta.
Both Governor Badaru Abubakar of Jigawa State and the Emir of Hadeja, Adamu Abubakar Maje, who is the chairman of the State Council of Chiefs, appreciated the president for returning Nigeria on the path to sustainable growth and development. They assured him of unflinching support, cooperation, and loyalty of the people to his administration as it sustains the implementation of his people-centered policies and programs. Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
Representatives of Nigerian youths had their turn with President Muhammadu Buhari in Abuja. State House correspondent Aliu Kabir reports that the interactive session took the form of a town hall meeting where President Buhari restated his commitment to fight corruption to move the nation forward.
President Muhammadu Buhari was speaking at a town hall meeting during his interaction with the representatives of the Nigerian youth from across the country, organized by the Directorate of the Youth Mobilization Buhari Presidential Campaign Council. The president has expressed appreciation with the support and the contribution of the Nigerian youth towards the successes and the progress brought to Nigerians since 2015 to date. He said their contributions in various sectors of the economy is a plus to the nation's growth and development. He therefore promised to carry more Nigerian youth along in his quest of building the nation.
All I would like to emphasize is that I appreciate your support, and I pray that you do not lose faith in me nor in our country, Nigeria. Most of you who know me know that I don't make promises I can't keep. But I assure you that the young people will continue to be part of this administration at even more critical places to us, consolidate on the gains we have achieved so far and more to come.
While enjoying more youth to key into the various government programs geared towards improving their living standards, such as N-Power and the trader money, among others, the president said his administration remains steadfast in its cardinal objective of fighting corruption, improving the economy, and enhancing the security of the nation.
I am still committed to the pledges I made to the country when I saw this mandate in 2015. And I stand before you today to renew those same pledges, that I will continue the fight against corruption. I can assure you, no one, no matter who, what, will make me compromise fighting corruption.
While responding to questions of the Nigerian youth on the effort of the government in building the nation, the president highlighted some of the strategies put in place by the government towards achieving safe and secure to Nigeria, promising to take everybody along in this regard.
We are virtually now have achieved food security. We have stopped importing rice by at least 90%. And we are fighting smugglers and those who are undermining the economy.
He also promised to create more opportunities for all Nigerians, especially the youth. Speakers comprising Kaduna State Governor Nasrul El-Rufai alongside Ministers of Power, Works and Housing Babatunde Raji Fashola, Education Adamu highlighted some of the achievements of President Buhari-led administration and assured to remain key players in bringing more developmental programs that will benefit Nigerians. From the State House, Aliu Kabir, NTA News.
Information and Culture Minister Lai Mohammed has expressed satisfaction with the closing of ranks by members of all the Progressives Congress in Kwara State ahead of the forthcoming general elections. The minister said this while officially opening the party's campaign office in Ilorin. Anthony Folsom reports.
APC campaign secretariat in Ilorin, Kwara State was donated by Yakubu Gobiru, one of the gubernatorial aspirants who lost out in the primaries. The Information and Culture Minister, Lai Mohammed, while formally opening the secretariat for use, commended the magnanimity of the donor, describing him as a man whose vision is for the overall interest of the people of Kwara State.
It's not about him. That is about the bigger picture, which is how do we liberate Kwara State and give Kwara State a new lease of life. So it means then that there's actually unity between all the aspirants and the entire, rank and file of the party. And I must say that he's not the first to do this. Ladi Makama also donated a campaign building for the Buhari Oshibado project, and many other people have done the same.
And as the countdown to the elections continue, the Information and Culture Minister restated the zeal of the people of Kwara State for a change.
What's happening in Kwara State today is a mass movement that the people of Kwara themselves have decided that they want a change of government. And they've also made up their mind which change they want. Go anywhere today in Kwara and just say Otoge, you are going to see hundreds of people coming to you.
It's a show of unity. It's a show that we are all one and that we all share the common purpose for the liberation of Kwara State.
Earlier, chairman of the party in the state, Bashir Bolarinwa, and other speakers at the occasion urged members of the party from across the state to intensify their door-to-door enlightenment on the mission of the APC to truly effect a change in administration and governance in Kwara State. Apart from the building to be used as secretariat, vehicles were also presented for campaign purposes. In Ilorin, Anthony Forson, NTA News.
Rice farmers across Nigeria are mobilizing support for the re-election of President Muhammadu Buhari to sustain the rice revolution in Nigeria. The farmers say the move is in recognition of the wealth being created in the agricultural sector. Najatu Tijani compiled a report of various town hall meetings by the Rice Farmers Association of Nigeria from different parts of the country.
Rice farmers in Osun State showing support for President Muhammadu Buhari. Femi Afariogun reports that the farmers are ready to vote again for the president to consolidate on the gains in the sector.
I've never seen 1 million naira out here. This regime, I sell rice of 3 million. All the rice farmers, they are going to vote 10 times for Buhari again.
During his own time, the assistant get to the grassroots.
So we pray for him that God will take him to his next level.
While in Enugu, Beauty Egobiamen reports that farmers have organized a massive campaign for the president's re-election.
Because we have been supported seriously by the present administration, federal government being led by Muhammad Buhari.
We are now saying that Nigerians should vote Buhari in because his government has thrived in agriculture.
It's the same ambience in Jos and Calabar, where Ijeoma Ozemina and Paul Abel report that farmers are benefiting from ready markets for their produce.
Today, there is no importation of rice in this country because as a result of what the president has done to us.
This program, CBN Refund Anchor Borrowers Program, was conceived under the leadership of President Muhammadu Buhari.
Nigeria's rice production currently stands at 15 million metric tons, according to the National Bureau of Statistics. Najat Tijani, NTA News.
All right, experts say that a close observation of the population that goes in and out of the prisons in Nigeria presupposes that there are challenges in the system. In the second part of the program, we'll learn more about the challenges and measures put in place to tackle them in the form of reforms. Thanks for staying with us on Weekend Fire. Correspondence report up next. And you're still watching Weekend File. Now, the federal government has committed huge resources to ensure stability in Nigeria's criminal justice system. This is evident in the efforts of the federal government in building befitting prisons, training and empowering of ex-prison convicts, among other reforms. Murjanatu Adam Said reports on prisons reforms under the present administration.
Now, the Nigerian prison service has been confronted with numerous challenges ranging from dilapidated structures, congestion, inability to produce awaiting trial inmates to court as and when due as a result of logistical challenges. The issue of inadequate healthcare services, jailbreak and escapes, among other challenges, have begun to give way for a new service since the coming of the present administration.
Prisons reforms is not just about the congestion of the prison. It is part of it. It is also about treatment, rehabilitation and reformation of the prisoners.
The general reforms that the prisons have been carried out are in the areas of infrastructural upgrade, logistics, the reformation of prisoners themselves, that in terms of skill acquisition and education.
Between 2016 and now, the Nigerian prison service has recorded massive improvement in the area of infrastructure, logistics, capacity building as a result of increased funding by the APC-led administration. On inmate training and aftercare services, the bone of contention of our prison is not unconnected with the expansion of the criminal justice system and security architecture, which has continued to develop in proportion due to population growth. Prisons in Africa are below global standards. Not anymore. Emerging fact shows that the condition in African prisons, especially in Nigeria, can't compare with the best in the world. In Abuja, Murjanatu Adam Said, NTA News.
Now, the prison environment has the unsavory reputation as a place of condemnation because of the incarceration and attendant degrading treatment meted out on inmates. But as our correspondent Annie Daniel in Lagos found out, that perception is gradually changing, as she tells us.
Kirikiri prison soap, antiseptic soap, is for betting. And we produce all these things here, and we have the machine here producing. And most of our products are being sold outside.
These are some prison inmates in Lagos speaking on the skills acquired while serving their terms. The dilapidated state of prisons across Nigeria and poor welfare package for authorities moved the federal government into working assiduously to change the narrative. Today, there is a huge success story.
And it's because the federal government gave the permit for reformers to come in, aside from what the prison officers are doing, because the prison has changed from being a punishment prison to a correctional facility.
To further actualize and sustain this dream, individuals and organizations also contribute their quota. Little wonder Nigerian prisons like the Kirikiri maximum and medium prisons stand out. I could not personally thank the federal government enough during one of my visits to the prisons. What I saw was excellent. For example, this farm, fish ponds, poultry and several others are managed by these inmates.
No matter how little they get from it, they are engaging themselves. And the joy of it all is that when they see this happening, they know that there is hope for them.
It's also a big plus for our prison system.
A non-governmental organization went a step further to make the study of computer accessible to these inmates.
We run primary and secondary school here. Those of them that pass their GC very well, and we enroll them to Open University. We have Open University Center in the prisons here.
The idea behind all these, caregivers and prison officials say, is not to promote crime and criminality in society, but to make them better citizens. In Lagos, Annie Daniels, NTA News.
The Kano State is among beneficiaries of ongoing infrastructural revolution and improved welfare of prison inmates across the country, embarked upon by the Buhari administration. Muhammad Rabiu Ali reports that apart from prison decongestion and new facilities in major prison yards in the state, the reform is also building confidence among inmates who in the past were contending with societal stigma.
For now, the condition of inmates in Nigerian prisons is not something to write about. For instance, Kano Central Prison, which was established in 1910 to harbor 750 inmates, now accommodates 2,087 inmates. Though, the narrative has changed with the ongoing reforms in the sector, where all structures are weeding out to provide conducive atmosphere for inmates.
10 years back, it was not like this. It was dilapidated. The condition of service was inadequate.
They hardly complain. Unlike before, that when you go to the inmates, they will be complaining that things are getting bad. But presently, when you go there, there's no complaint.
Another milestone that have taken place in Kano prison were the provision of more logistics, especially vehicles for conveying inmates to and from the court for quick dispensation of justice, welfare of personnel, as well as construction of new mega prison to decongest inmates.
When this government came in, they have added the budgetary allocation for feeding inmates. When you see our inmates now, they are looking healthy and hefty. This government has added budgetary allocation, and every month we used to receive drugs and medicaments from our national headquarters.
Stakeholders believe that enhancing access to justice, exercise of prerogative mercy, paying fines of inmates to gain freedom will go a long way in better the life of inmates, and when released from prison, will go back to society as good and law-abiding citizens. Muhammad Rabiu Ali, NTA News.
And thank you for being here. As a matter of fact, Jafar Ahmed, Controller General of Nigerian Prisons, is our guest tonight. But before we engage him in a discussion, let's take yet another break. Now, joining me now in the studio for the discussion segment of the program is Jafar Ahmed, Controller General of the Nigerian Prison Service. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Now, we raised a number of issues in the introductory aspect of this program, which of course mirrored, some of the ugly situations that Nigerian prisons were known for. Now, lead us into what the situation was like in those prisons before the present administration came to power.
Thank you very much. Good evening, Nigerians. The Nigerian Prison Service is faced with numerous challenges before the advent of this administration, President Muhammadu Buhari's administration, and in so many areas. First, in the area of infrastructural upgrade, as you have seen in your reports, there are dilapidated buildings everywhere, dotted everywhere in all the prisons. Mark you that these prisons are over 100 years old, and they have not been, there was never a concerted effort at attempting to upgrade the infrastructure, demolish them, and bring other things so that you create a very good environment within the prison system. There was also the problem of logistics. We were not able to carry that mandate because the Nigerian Prison Service had the mandate of producing inmates to and from the courts. And this is nearly impossible because there were near absence of the logistics for us to do that. Let me cite you an example. Kuje Prison, before this advent, was having only 2 vehicles and is serving 97 courts within the FCT. This is the logistical challenge that we're facing, and this goes all over all the prisons, almost 244 of them, that we don't have this. Then we have the issue of even meeting the prisoner needs in terms of medicines, in terms of their beds and beddings, and a host of other things. And then we also have the problem of reformation, because the finance is just not there for us to purchase the necessary tools to equip our workshops and to be able now on discharge to be able to give these inmates the necessary tools on the trades that they have learned. These are some of the major challenges that we were facing before the advent of.
Now, what are the fundamental reforms, that have taken place lately?
Of late, let me say, from 2016, when I assumed duty as the Controller General of Prisons, these are the reforms that have been carried out. We have been able to upgrade our infrastructure in almost every nook and cranny of this country. There's no prison that we have not touched in terms of that. Let me give you a statistics. In 2016, we were able to conceive about 268 projects, and we have almost completed over 228 of them in major prisons across the country. In 2017, we were able to conceive about 161 projects, and we have completed about 106. In 2018, we have just conceived 57 projects, which we are now working on. And out of them, we are bringing up new prisons entirely. In Suleja, we noticed that the Suleja prison is old, and it is mixed up with the female prison, and it cannot, therefore, house both the male and female in one place. And therefore, we are building a new prison in Suleja. And the FCT has only one prison, and that is the Kujo prison, which is already overcrowded, housing over 800. And the president graciously approved for a special funding for us to have 3,000 capacity prison in the FCT. It is part of these projects that we are going to embark on in 2018. And in the area of vehicles, we were able to purchase 217 logistic operational vehicles in 2017. In 2016, in 2017, we purchased over 49. In 2018, I've just purchased 116, which have been painted and will soon be distributed to prisons nationwide. But that is not all. It is in the area of provision of the prisoner needs that this administration has made it possible for us to now provide the drugs. Formerly, prison officers go around begging because when prisoners are sick, we have no alternative but to go out, to reach out to government organizations, to good spiritual individuals. But now it's no longer the case. We have enough drugs in our pharmacies that can cater for all the prisoners under our care. And government has also provided us with money under this administration to be able to provide the beds and beddings, the basic needs of these prisoners nationwide. And above all, the change environment has now allowed us to reform the prisoners.
Oh, okay, fine. You have 244 prisons, yes. And you have successfully effected certain fundamental changes in all of that. And from what you have told us now, however, 381 vehicles, some of them are yet to be distributed. Yes. That's a quantum leap, if you ask me. All right, now, let us know exactly the specific areas that your reform is focusing with respect to reforming the prisoners, turning them around, preparatory to returning them into the society.
One of the mandates of the Nigerian Prison Service is the reformation, rehabilitation, and the subsequent reintegration of prisoners back to the society. And for that, we are unable to carry it in the past because we do not have the necessary funding. But now that we have the necessary funding, we're able to provide workshops and equip our workshops. We're able to have in two areas. One, for those inmates that do not possess any formal education at all, what we expose them to are skills acquisition. And in that, we have in so many areas that we have been able to provide in carpentry, joinery, baby saloon, and the rest of them. And they undergo under trade tests, grade 3, grade 2, and grade 1. And for that, and the completion, and on discharge from the prison, because we have the necessary funding now, we are now able to provide what we call aftercare. That is, we purchase the equipments and the tools that those inmates require in the area of the trades that they have learned and they have been certificated, to now give them to settle down. And we have followed most of them, and we are happy to say most of them have settled down. Now, for those who want formal education, be it adult education, we have been able to provide enabling environment for them to have that basic education. Let me give you the statistics of what we have. In terms of literacy and numeracy, we have about enrollment of over 4,757. Out of this number, about 1,162 have already graduated, and they can now be dilated.
Right, yeah.
Then the first school leaving certificate, we had an enrollment of 513. And 382 have already graduated. In the area of junior secondary school, which you conduct also in many of the prisons, we have 587 enrollment, out of which 246 have already graduated. In the area of senior secondary school, we have 1,404, out of which 634 have graduated. In just 2016-2017, over 49 of prisoners in Kuja prison were able to pass their WAEC with at least 5 credits and above. That is a good quantum something. For NECO, we have 193 enrollment, out of which 54 have already graduated. The NAPTI, what they call, 15 enrolled, 15 graduated, and they have all passed. The BCE, we have 177, 142 have already graduated.
Are you capturing all the prisoners in all the 244 prisons you mentioned? Are you capturing all of them, or is it just...
No. For some programs, it is not all the prisons. But for most of these programs that I mentioned, they're almost all the 139 prisons that we have, the main prisons. Because 139 are the main prisons that are located in the urban areas that have a population of about 100 and above. The remaining about 85 are satellite prisons that do not, they just have a small number, and their population are basically awaiting trial, or people or convicted that cannot go more than 3 months.
Now, what is the living conditions of prisoners? You know, we learn from sources, that some live big in the prisons. If you can afford to pay 1 or 2, you live like a big person, and the other prisoners will serve you and all of that. Are the living conditions okay for everybody in there?
Everybody in the Nigerian prison service today is being cared for, because this government has ensured that the payment of ration has never rested from January to December. We are not owing any contractor for ration and gas for 2018 and the subsequent years. And for every prisoner that is there, we treat him equally, irrespective of his position.
Now, when you have prisoners, of course, your staff are also involved, in caring for the prisoners. Now, what about your staff? Is there any kind of welfare, staff promotion, entitlement? Some say that the IPPS platform reduced their salary and what have you. Is there any difficulty of that nature?
Well, on the issue of staff welfare, I'm happy to say that when this government came, there were some of our personnel that were not promoted for well over 17 years. They have been on one rack. But I'm happy to report that over 15,000 within that period of 2016 to date have been promoted, and I will say that there's no stagnation in the prison system as of today.
Okay.
We are promoting, and we are providing and rehabilitating prison barracks. We're providing an environment of training and retraining of our staff, and we're ensuring that every staff does its work in accordance with the rules. And we have been able to provide, for the first time in years, the Nigerian Prison Service under this administration was able to provide each junior staff 1 set of uniform.
All right. And that has not happened before?
That has never happened.
All right, sir. Well, at this point, I'd like to really thank you, for, sharing all the developments in Nigerian prisons. It's really a pleasure hosting you on this platform. Thank you indeed for coming. I have been speaking with Jafaru Ahmed, the Controller General, Nigerian Prison Service. Now, you're still watching Weekend File, and when we return, sports is next. And I'm afraid that that's the much time can allow us to take on this edition of Weekend File. Thank you for watching. See you again next week.